about the other political shift this morning, because the Lok Sabha, which is all set to expand from 543 to 850 seats, and this is the much awaited Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, or the women's reservation, that is now all set to become a reality. Now, to fast track when it comes to its implementation, the centre has now convened a special session of the parliament that begins from tomorrow. Now, this idea is to introduce constitutional amendments that will pave way for 33% reservation for women in the Lok Sabha and in the state assemblies before 2029. And as per the clearance is now concerned, that happened back in 2023, but the implementation is now linked to 2027 census delimitation. Though the Prime Minister has urged all political parties to come together and put up a united front in this historic move, some in the opposition, however, raising questions on the timing and the intent of the government of India, especially when it comes to chief ministers of the southern states who are raising red flags, right from Tamil Nadu to Telangana to Karnataka. As far as the leaders are now concerned, chief ministers of southern states in particular are opposing the centre's decision. They say that this is an attempt to bulldoze governance, and southern states says that their representation will fall sharply, and they say as far as multiple sectors is now concerned, they are now keeping, as far as their stand is concerned, to lose the influence that has lagged on every human development index.
நாளை மறுநாள் ஏப்ரல் 16 நாடாளுமன்ற சிறப்பு கூட்டத்தொடர் கூடுதுன்னு சொல்றதை விட தமிழ்நாடு மேற்கு வங்க தேர்தலுக்கு நடுவில் வலுக்கட்டாயமா கூட்டப்படுதுன்னு தான் சொல்லணும். டீலிமிட்டேஷன்ங்கிற தொகுதி மறுவரையறை தொடர்பாக அரசியல் சட்ட திருத்தத்தை இந்த தொடர்ல बुलडोज பண்ண போறாங்க.
दक्षिण भारत में एससीओं को, एसटीओं को, महिलाओं को अन्याय करने के लिए भारतीय जनता पार्टी नरेंद्र मोदी जी आज कोशिश कर रहे हैं. तो इसीलिए हम लोग ये बयान देना चाहता हूं, मैं साफ साफ कहना चाहता हूं, दक्षिण भारत को आप अन्याय नहीं कर सकते. जनता के लिए नहीं, आदिवासियों के लिए, दलित के लिए, महिलाओं के लिए भी सीट जब कम हो जाएंगे उनका हिस्सा भी कम हो जाएंगे. कम करने के लिए कोशिश कर रहा है. कोई पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के साथ कोई आप कंसेंसस बिल्ड करने के लिए कोशिश नहीं कर रहा है.
Chief Minister has got nothing to do. He just wants to pinprick this nitty-gritty thing and to say, oh, Tamil Nadu is like this, Delhi is like this. It is very unfortunate. With respect to the action where no state is going to get penalized, he has started his usual fear-mongering practice sitting in Tamil Nadu.
They are concentrating on delimitation. These Women's reservation bill was passed in the Lok Sabha long back. It is pending only in the Rajya Sabha. Last 12 years they are in power. Why didn't they bring now? Now they want to, what our question is, now why should they call the parliament, convene the parliament when they know that all MPs will be busy in campaigning. So their plan is to disturb the opposition party's campaigning scheme. Why can't they have this session in May?
Well, this is right in the middle of the election season there. As far as the DMK MPs are also concerned, they have been summoned by Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, which is M.K. Stalin. Quickly introducing Mohan Krishna, political analyst, joining us here on the broadcast, and Akashdeep Puni as well, also joining us here on the broadcast. Good morning to both of you. What we are going to discuss about is something as far as when it comes to the entire, change that is now being witnessed this time. Because why is it being called as a historic move? Well, let's get you a better understanding. India has changed dramatically since 1977. And the last time that the seat counts were frozen, the population has nearly doubled. We are one of the biggest populations across the globe. And when it comes to an MP that represents over 25 lakh citizens, by global standards, our parliament, however, seems to be deeply underrepresented. Now, India needs more lawmakers simply to function, and the states that grew in population also deserve another seat at the table. Let's break it down for you as far as another seat at the table. Let's break it down for you as far as this explanation now is concerned, because this also seems to be a pro-women push when it comes to the other half of the population, and its representation is also concerned. So the jump in the Lok Sabha seats, what are we now looking at, from 543 to now 850? And when it comes to women's quota, is something that the Prime Minister and the government of India has been pushing for, where there will be 33% a reservation for women and 273 seats that becomes reserved for women. Then talk about the quota structure, because when it comes to the SC and the ST as well, which also includes women in this case, and delimitation base is on the census switch from 2011 data that is expected to be used, because there has been a significant amount of time till the time that the next census actually happens in 2027. Then this timeline shift, what is now being said, because there is no wait going to be for the 2027 census as far as when it comes to the enactment is now concerned in the parliament, and the big impact is now being looked upon is especially when it comes to the representations that come in from the seats that go up, women win, and the timeline that now seem to be cut. So let's get in a word when it comes to Mr. Krishna, on your understanding, sir. Very delayed, however, we can say, but a very significant move. Now, the southern states in particular are of the opinion, sir, that they believe that the representation will be severely undercut, and this is a strategic move on part of the government right in the middle of the election season, that a special session of parliament has been called. What are your thoughts, sir?
Very good morning. Look, as a opposition also understand the significance of this bill, which has been passed earlier by the government. And now it is important for us to take care of the women representation in the coming Lok Sabha elections as well as in the assembly elections in the country. Now it's very important to mention that 74 women MPs are there at present in this parliament of 2024 to 29. Look at the number, what you have shown, it is 273. From 74 to 273 is a huge jump. It's almost 3.5 times. 3.5 times it has to be grown. What it means actually is they have been deprived for several years for the representation of the women in the parliament for several reasons. I don't want to blame anybody here for that matter. At the same time, the BJP government led by Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi has taken an appropriate step at the right time, as the global representation of women in all the parliaments. If you look across the global parliament representation of women today,
Yes, sir.
it is very high
Yes,
compared to India. That's one point.
Yeah.
The second point is, look, today we are empowering women in a very big way. When we are empowering the women, their voice has to be heard, their grievances.
And that is where, when it comes to the significance, is also concerned, Mr. Krishna, because this is the second half, the other part of the population that also needs its due representation when it comes to the biggest democracy in the world and its representation in parliament. Because we're going to get you a quick explainer for our viewers as well, why this journey of women reservation, and now when it comes to how the promises that have been pending for so long, and now we are looking at the government in action there, because this seems to be a long pending promise, what happened back in 1996. Now this is when it comes to its first introduction is concerned. Then when it comes to the era of 1998 to 2003, NDA government tables the bill at least 4 times. However, there has been no success on part of the government. Then when the government changes in 2009, the UPA government tables the bill. However, there had been significant protests also when it comes to the allies of the same government. Then comes the year 2010 in February. The Union Cabinet, however, approves of this bill. Then in March 2010, the Rajya Sabha passes the bill, and it is in 2023, again a significant period of time that passes by, Lok Sabha passes the bill, and that is what we are now looking at, with more than 2/3 of the majority as far as when it comes to Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam of 2023 that has been taken up by the parliament. Now, mainly when we take a look exactly is where the question is, if the bill that was passed back in 2023 and became an act, then why is it going to the parliament again? So when we talk about the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam that was passed in 2023, that actually mandates that reservation comes into effect only after a delimitation exercise is conducted based on the first census that act's announcement, especially when it comes to the census exercise that began in April 2026. it will be conducted in 2 phases. And the government has announced that the process will get over by February 2027. So going by the current status of the Act, 33% reservation for women in the Lok Sabha and in the state assemblies can get implemented only after 2027 census gets over, which is linked to delimitation exercise. But the centre, however, plans to fast-track that implementation process and wants currently, when it comes to 33% reservation system for women, before 2029 comes into effect. So let's go back to Akashdeep Muni on this, because Akashdeep, what is your opinion on this? Because won't this move, as far as, yes, the states have their federal structure to which they have now been talking about, saying that this is going against that, and this is, dominance that the government wants to exude, especially when it comes to the delimitation exercise is concerned. What about the other half of the population? Are you against that move, and as far as their representation in Lok Sabha is concerned?
See, it is not only about the federal structure. It is about how people who did not stood with women are being given advantage here. I'll prove. Give me just 30 seconds. After the government implemented family planning initiatives, the southern states did really good with women empowerment, with women education, with they have brought down the family planning initiative very nicely, which is why the number of people in the southern states have come down, while the number of people in the northern states, because the northern politicians failed, miserably they failed. And now what happens is that now after this delimitation, you are giving the northern states higher share in the policy making who have failed, and you are limiting the southern states who have done good for the women. I'll just give you one example.
But there cannot be any divide on that. Is the very divide that we need to overcome, isn't it? I mean, sorry, Mr. Krishna, we're just completely running out of time, because as far as this very move is also concerned, Mr. Muni, that marks a fundamental shift when it comes to India's representation framework. Why do we look at the lens of North and South? Because this is the expansion that what we are talking about in the Lok Sabha, and that is to remove the decades-old population freeze that actually enables fresh allocation seats based on current demographics of states as well. So let's look at that, as far as an inclusivity is concerned. But thank you very much, Mr. Muni and Mr. Krishna, for joining us here on the broadcast. Completely running out of time there. We'll be following up as far as the big development is concerned with the special session of Parliament that has been called in from tomorrow onwards. Back after a short.